Well, hello. Today, 4 easy steps to make perfect hard-boiled, easy-to-peel eggs. And also, while they're boiling, I'm going to make some mayonnaise. Welcome back. I'm Mark Wheeler. This is Primal Inspired Keto. And if you're anything like me, you've been frustrated with trying to boil an egg and make it easy to peel. I eat a lot of eggs, my wife and I do. I like to do a lot of different things with hard-boiled eggs. You know, deviled eggs and egg salad and just straight up hard-boiled eggs. They're easy and, you know, efficient and everything. But I found sometimes peeling them was nearly impossible to do a decent job. It would just butcher them. There had to be a hack. There had to be a trick. And after extensive trial and error, I think I've found that. So we're going to go to the video. So we're back in the kitchen. Here's my eggs. And I like to use Eggland's Best if I'm not going to get farm fresh eggs. They're the ones with little, initials on the end of every egg. And I don't boil my eggs, I steam them. And I think that makes a big difference. It seems to be very controlled, very controllable. One of the first things I do is make sure the eggs are room temperature as best as you can, and have this little timer be the same temperature. It's a submersible time or immersible timer that you can put down inside, and as the center changes from orange to white, you know the doneness of the eggs. So you have to kind of keep an eye on that part, but you'll see it makes a perfect egg. But you want that thing to be the same temperature as the egg. So what I do is I take my cleaver knife, and it's got a sharp pointed end, and I poke a hole in the end of the egg, the rounded egg that has the air pocket. Some eggs it's hard to tell which one has the air pocket. It really doesn't matter if you poke the hole on the wrong end, but I'll poke a hole in all of these eggs except for one. And I've got that one identified, so there's no magic here. That's my hack number 2. My tip number 1 is get that egg timer. Number 2 is to poke a hole in the egg. So here's the last one. I've drawn an X on the egg, and I will not crack the shell. Now, I've done more cracking of the shell, like holes at either end and stuff. It doesn't hurt. It's not a problem. Just this way, it doesn't make a mess. So you'll see at the other end. So I'm going to take this now and set it down. There's about an inch of water in the all-clad pot, and it sits on top. Put the lid on, get it going at a low boil, and then just occasionally check that timer. So, onto the mayonnaise. So my mayonnaise, I have 2 egg yolks. Save the whites for something else. Have your ingredients ready. I have a cup of avocado oil. I've got my Redmond salt. I've got my lemon juice. Oh, actually, I don't have my lemon juice. I've got my lemon, and so there's my lemon. So I'm going to squeeze that into a bowl so I can get my 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. Handy tool. It's a good tool. Make short work of the lemon. So, but it's important that you have your oil in something that you can drizzle slowly, because that's the key. If you just dump the oil in there, you'll never make mayonnaise. But you have to slowly add the oil. You could probably put in more than 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, or lime juice works really well too. Your favorite vinegar works really well. You need that part in there to help form up the mayonnaise the way it's supposed to be. I like whisking in this glass bowl because without somebody holding down the bowl or some other way of holding it, it really does well for being a substantial bowl for what you need to whisk. So I'm going to whisk this to kind of emulsify the lemon in with the egg, and you'll know when it's good and mixed, and you can see that it's blended and it's kind of changed its characteristic a little bit. It's about where you want it. And now, like I said, I'm using an avocado oil. I like this one. I think it does a good job. I use this little pitcher. That's the avocado oil that I'm using. It might not be the best. I mean, it's pretty devoid of flavor, but it's supposed to be better oil. I don't know. So olive oil, a light olive oil works really well, but it's so easy to make. Why not do it and make it out of oil that you want, that you really want to be consuming? So I'm going to drizzle in the oil just very slowly, and you'll start to pick up volume. Now remember, 2 eggs with a cup of oil. That's how much oil you're getting from mayonnaise. Now I've used this particular mayonnaise right after this to make a really nice egg salad. You need to season it the way you like it. Experiment around with it, but it's easy and inexpensive to make, so it's certainly worthwhile. So this takes a while to get through a cup, so I'm going to edit to the chase. It's starting to get thicker because as I'm whisking, there's enough resistance to make this heavy Pyrex bowl start to spin. So it's starting to get thick. It's starting to do what you want it to do. Oh, and again, if I didn't mention it before, you want to make sure that the egg is as close to being room temperature as possible. Warm up a little water, or just set them out ahead of time, or just get the egg yolks in the bowl so that the egg yolks are the same temperature as the oil. Makes a big difference with what you're trying to do. At least I found that. So now I'm going to add a little fine Redmond salt. I put it in my salt mill, and so this is Redmond's real salt. Sorry, it was on a camera shot. I got to get used to what my camera inclusion is on that. So, but you add salt as you need to. You can add because that's the kosher Redmond salt. You can add that like that if you want it, but I find that the fine just you get the full flavor of the salt faster than letting it sit and dissolve, or particularly if you're going to make something with it right away, you might end up with some crunchies in there. So the salt mill works really good on that. So I added in a little more lemon juice. I took a taste and it was close, but I think maybe just a little bit more. And it did work out really well. It was very, very tasty. Don't be disappointed if when you first taste it, it doesn't taste like factory, industrial mayonnaise that the real, as they call it, mayonnaise. It just tastes different because they haven't refined it and done all the crazy things. I mean, when you read the ingredients, regular mayonnaise, real mayonnaise, has got egg and oil and those things, but then we wanted to try a mayonnaise made out of avocado oil, and all the other ingredients are in there, and avocado oil was just a small part of it. All the rest of it, might say avocado oil mayonnaise, but all the rest of what is in there is these these industrial oils that machine oils that you get from that you're trying to stay away from. Like Dr. Ken Berry says all the time that it's vegetable oil, but there's no vegetable in sight. It's machine oil. It's not natural. And this is. I'm curious how they make the avocado oil. I haven't seen anything on that, but they say it's pure avocado oil. So, okay, got the last of the oil in there. Give it a good brisk whisking. A little more salt. This is where you tweak it and refine it to achieve the flavor that you're looking for, whatever you're trying to make. You can add smoked paprika. You can add just straight up salt. I'm going to put in a seasoning that's part of my Primal Inspired Keto seasonings that's all organic. So I'm adding just a 1/4 teaspoon of my Primal Inspired Keto Primal Poultry seasoning. This particular seasoning has large chunks of organic dried lemon peel, things like that. But I'm just going to add a little bit in there for flavor. Again, you put in as much as you want. But this one's bold, really nice chilies and now my seasonings. I did not add salt to my seasonings because salt is a preference. Use salt with whatever salt. I hope you use Redmond salt, but use salt with whatever salt makes you happy, because you need the salt. And if you're going to use Redmond's, one of our smoked salts or something like that, whatever you end up putting in there. So yeah, that's it for my mayonnaise. I'm going to get it in this terrific bowl and get a lid on it and get it in the fridge. I find that it keeps for 3-4 days. Usually if I make it on the weekend, I can plan to have something with the mayonnaise throughout the week. Looks yummy. Now let's check to see where the eggs are. I see that the timer has started to change color. Let me grab it out of there with tongs, because it's hot. And you can see that the outside is turning white and the inside is changing color, getting smaller and smaller. And it's giving me the indication. Now I'll show you at the end. I usually wait until it's completely white, and then I give it maybe another minute or two longer, but it makes a perfect egg. Okay, so here's the egg timer. The center is all the is all the same color, so that lets me know that it's to the point where the egg should be in pretty good shape. Like I said, I usually let it go a minute or two longer. I do like the center of my egg to be a little bit soft. Certainly not runny, but it's still hard boiled, but it's not dry hard boiled to the center. And you'll see that if you don't know, the way that you can tell that you've overcooked an egg is that the yolk has a green halo around the outside of the yolk. That's not a good thing. So I'll take all my eggs out. Usually I do it right in the pot, but there's no good way to do that. So there's the egg that has the X on it. It's hot. And I'll put some water on them, and then I'll put some ice on there so I can shock them. What I find is that little poke hole in the end, now, if you dropped them in boiling water, you'd see bubbles come out the end of the egg. Now that I've steamed them, I can only imagine that in this expansion, that the eggs, where they cooked, now that it's cooling, the eggs will start to pull in this nice, clean, cold water, and it starts to separate the shell and the membrane from the egg. So that's trick number 3, is I ice them down right afterward to make sure that releases. Now, I found, because like I said, I tried it all. I tried using vinegar in the water. I tried salting the water. I tried cracking the eggs and then soaking them. I tried all different kinds of things, and it just really did not seem to make a difference. So I'm going to let these cool a while, and I'll cut back and forth as I'm starting to show the eggs getting peeled. Okay, the eggs have cooled off enough. They're cool to the touch. They're still slightly warm inside. Now, what I do is I tap the egg to crack the shell, and then I rotate it in place. That's tip number 4. Rotate it in place with it being just gently pressed against a hard surface. I usually do this on the inside of the sink. Works fantastic. And then tap the air pocket. Now when I grab the egg peel, the egg shell, and try to grab the membrane, normally I do this in the sink under very slow running water, and the shell just like falls off. But it's come out really easy, and you don't want to use your fingernail. You want to use the side of your finger and just gently push in on the egg, and then push against the eggshell, and it just rolls right off. Like I said, I could usually do a dozen eggs in 5 minutes, and they're all perfect. So now that I've made some headway and I'm getting down towards the other end of the egg, there, boom, comes right off. So that's one egg that I poke the hole in the end that makes the difference. The the next egg I'm going to do is the egg that's got the little black X on it. Let me find that. Right, there's the egg with the black X. And that egg, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to tap the eggshell and crack it all around, and then turn it against the surface like that, and it skids the shell and starts to separate it from it. Now I can tell right away as I'm starting to peel this, there's no liquid between the shell and the membrane, of course, because there was no hole poked in it. And I'm starting to get a thin layer of egg coming off on the shell as I'm starting to rotate it off, and there's a big piece of egg stuck to it. So now it's getting ugly. Okay, it's an ugly egg. It still tastes the same and all, but it's just, if you're going to do deviled eggs or something, or you want to pack eggs, they just look crappy, and it's a hassle. It takes way longer than it's supposed to. That large section of shell that normally comes off doesn't want to come off, and so I'm going to rinse this off quick in the sink. And I'm going to do one more egg. Okay, let's cut an egg. Now, not overcooking the egg makes a big difference in the smell of the egg also. If you overcook it, they tend to smell like eggs. But cooked like this, now see, that's perfect. There's even color. It's still somewhat moist. It's not dried out on the inside. And there's none of that green halo around there, which makes much nicer, egg salads or anything else you're going to do with the yolk and the egg like that. So there you go. Well, there's my 4 tips on how to do a perfectly hard-boiled egg that's easy to peel, and my favorite recipe for making my own healthy mayonnaise. So again, subscribe, click the bell, tell your friends, keep checking in on what we got going on here. My website will be up soon, and don't forget, don't eat factory food, and be healthy, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.